Hello, and welcome to People Talk Now. This is the podcast where you ask about it and I talk about it. And I just want to start off with saying happy Wednesday, guys. We are halfway through the week. And hell yeah, man. Give yourself a pat in the back. Because life be hard out there. Life be so goddamn hard. So, on that note of life being so dang hard, I wanted to talk about today's podcast, kind of run you through what I got going for us today. And during today's podcast, I will talk to you about ways to control your emotions. And I will also answer 5 questions you guys asked me during my last podcast. So I'll follow up with those and answer them. I chose 5 questions out of the many that I had gotten. Thank you guys, by the way, for asking some of these really good and funny questions. And then I'm going to follow it up with a joke of the day. And of course, we will learn a new word together because like I always say, man, I want you guys to leave my podcast with some food for thought. I think one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about on controlling your emotions was because we can all let our emotions get the best of us sometimes. And there are many ways where we lose control of our emotions sometimes, and those can be during a conversation with a loved one, with a friend, with a coworker. Sometimes you're having I'm sorry. And sometimes you could be having an argument and you maybe say things or you just don't really know how to go about expressing at the moment what you want to say because your emotions are so built up and so overlaid over time that you become tight and tensed up, and it may come out in a way sometimes where it hurts people. You know, we've all hurt people at one time or another because we just couldn't control our shit, y'all. We couldn't handle it in. So I'm going to give you guys some tips based on times where I lost my shit. And I feel like it could really help somebody out there that needs it. And this could be anything, honestly. This could be relevant towards a relationship that you're currently in. Maybe you tend to lose your emotions sometimes when you're at work or, just on a day-to-day basis or every now and then, and you just ask yourself like, fuck, why do I not have this in check? Like what are some exercises that I can do to help me out of this hell? So first of all, when you feel like you just already lost control of your emotions, or if you feel like you're about to, my number one and best advice. And I would just like to say as a disclaimer right now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. I am none of the above other than a person who has lived life and experienced life. And I have used every single one of those tools to basically create the person I am now and to learn from those. So I am basically teaching people or advising people based on my own mistakes and just things that I've learned that have made me a better person because of them. Okay, so now that I've said that, okay, now I'm gonna get to it. So for starters, one of the best ways to control your emotions is just to breathe. Just breathe. Take a deep breath. Sometimes when you feel like you're just about to lose your shit, like you don't know if the next words that are going to come out of your mouth are going to be hurtful to someone, and it's going to make you feel terrible inside, You'd be surprised through simple mindfulness techniques. You can actually manage very tenseful situations, and none of them is more straightforward than actually using your breath. If you start noticing yourself getting tense, try to focus on your breathing pattern and acknowledge that sensation that you get from the air coming in and out of your lungs. And feel it. Feel how it passes through your nostrils or down to the back of your throat. And this will take your attention off the signs of the panic that you're feeling from about to lose control of your emotions. And some of the mindfulness will actually go back towards counting your breath, like acknowledging that first. And it's so crazy because the reason why I feel like this is very helpful is that about almost 2 months ago, I took up meditation. And meditation has really helped me in some aspect as to really control the fogginess, the mind fog that I get from all the thoughts that begin to occur of things that I can't control. And you'd be surprised how sometimes all of that will make it so difficult for you to just control your emotions and just like trying not to lose yourself. So keep that in mind, that breathing is from my personal perspective, is one of the first and foremost very helpful things towards controlling your emotions and not saying something that you know can be very hurtful to somebody, or in the end up hurting yourself. Because essentially when we say these things to people, or our intent to hurt other people is essentially hurting our own beings inside. So keep that in mind. Another important thing that is super helpful when you're trying to control your emotions is to actually take a second and recognize and point out the feelings that you're actually feeling. Like, what are you feeling? When you start feeling emotional, the attention that you actually give towards those thoughts and the feelings may crowd your mind in judgment. So sometimes in certain things, you might, out of acting out of emotion, you might start distancing yourself from those things, and you want to bury them and just be like, no, it's just better not to. When certain things are bothering you. And then next thing you know, you end up freaking exploding later on someone else. So sometimes expressing your emotions is it's better to be heard in a very calm manner. And it's very helpful too. Like if you're trying to express yourself to someone else, it's very important that, you do this calmly and with a clear head, because if you do it in a moment where you feel like you've already lost your cool and you're not thinking clearly, you haven't took a deep breath in and been like, wow, let me reflect on exactly it is that I'm feeling. Like, why am I feeling this? Then chances are you can end up using very violent language. You might start having this very effed up behavior towards some people that don't really deserve that part of you, So like I said, definitely practice mindfulness techniques. Breathing is very important. Definitely when you take a breath, I feel like, in my opinion, this is a very underused approach, because I feel like the more time that we actually give ourselves to process our emotions, the less intense they will be. So when things start escalating, just excuse yourself for a moment. It's honestly, it doesn't make you the bad guy. It makes you a better person for yourself and for those around you. Go get yourself some coffee. Go get a goddamn glass of water. Go to the bathroom or take a brief stroll down through the street. If you work in an office, walk through the office. But it's definitely very, very helpful that you become neutral. Or even if you have to pause the conversation and be like, I'm sorry, if you feel like you're about to lose your control of your emotions and you're going to just explode, it's probably just best that you take a second, take a break, walk away, and get some fresh air. And the last thing you want as well is for the other person to think that things are going so badly that you just want to get away from them either. Like, you don't want to give them that impression like, oh, is this something I said? You know, like, because of your emotions, you know? Just, you know, keep in mind that you're probably not the only one who's upset or angry. And the other person may, you know, could be very well express anger or frustration too, you know? But it's all on what and how you handle you know, your breath, and more than anything, it's on how you handle acknowledging the feelings that you're having, because it's so important. You basically can't deny your feelings, but at the same time, it's so important that you don't let them overcome everything. Like, you don't let them consume you to the point where, you know, you lose your patience and you become this fucking demon. And because sometimes as humans, you know, it seems like we're always like wrestling with our patience. I know I do. I still sometimes wrestle with my patience, and sometimes just, you know, when things are not happening exactly when I want them to, those are times where I'm just like, okay, how am I going to approach this? Like, you have to take a step back and start asking yourself, man, like, okay, come on, man, really? Is this really that important to the point where I'm going to let this ruin my moment right now, my moment of living? No way. It's not worth it. It's not. So definitely, I think is, if you feel like you're about to lose control of your emotions, definitely do not react right away. Because I feel like reacting immediately to emotional triggers can be a huge mistake. It's guaranteed most of the time that you'll say or you'll do something you're later going to regret. And before getting to that trigger with, you know, through your emotional argument that you're having, take a deep breath and stabilize that overwhelming impulse to just be fucking say what it is that all the emotions that have been built up is wanting you to say. So, you know, as you become calmer, just, I would say, tell yourself that this is only temporary. It's only temporary. This emotion is going to go away. It's not going to last. And, you know, if you're someone that believes in a higher force, I would say this. If faith is your saving grace in the darkest moments, then I would say that would be the go way about it. Use your faith. If you're a person that believes in God, then God be with you. Then use God to help you through those emotions that you're feeling. And definitely, you know, you will pull through with that. But definitely surround yourself with obstacles and with things and with people who make it easy for you to express yourself. So I will say this. If you're a person that believes in the higher force, that means that you also believe in the power of divine intervention to show you what you must do. And if you do believe in that, then you know that at a certain point that lesson is going to teach you something or save you from a certain unwanted situation. So if you're so burdened, close your eyes and envision a positive solution to your problem and ask the universe to illuminate the best possible path going forward for you. Because I guarantee you that if you have that type of intent and that type of want of positivity over your emotions, it can and it will happen. Because I've been in situations where I just couldn't control my emotions, and you always look back and you reflect, man, and you're just like, damn it, man, why did I say that? Why did I do that? And it's not easy. Sometimes it's not easy, and I get it. But, sometimes you have to find a healthy outlet. You have to find something that you can manage your emotions so that you can release your emotions in a very healthy way. Because I'm going to tell you right now, based on experience, when I was younger, I was the type of teenager that was just always holding her shit in. And my dad would always just say, like, hey, Vanessa, it's not healthy that you're holding this in. Like, you need to let it go. You need to let it out. You need to speak up. You need to let people know how you feel. Even sometimes, like I always say, like about my podcast, I will talk about the things. If people ask me to talk about things that are uncomfortable, I will do it because it's actually part of expressing myself in a healthy way. This is my healthy outlet. This is me talking to other people, telling them what's worked for me, what has not. And, everybody gets a little bit and piece of information for something that helps them out. So trust me when I say, back when I was a teenager, holding in all the emotions, it was not pretty. I would fucking lose my shit. Like, it is not healthy for you to be like, for example, if someone asks you a question, like this happens a lot nowadays in relationships, this can even happen at work. Someone will come up to you and ask you, ask you it sounds super simple, but it sometimes can be so fucked up and so difficult. Someone will come up to you and say, hey, how are you doing today? And you know damn well that you are not doing good. But what will you say? You will say, I'm fine. Why? Why? Like, why do we do that as human beings? Perhaps because we think that it is easier to just keep our shit inside than to burden someone else, because we assume that no one could possibly handle, whatever we're feeling or we're just, you know what I mean? Like, we just always think like, no, it's just better to just say I'm fine because maybe right now it's not the time and place or blah, blah, blah. But you know what? From so many times of someone saying, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Oh my God, you'd be surprised how much that will begin to build on you. So let me be the first to say that your emotions should never whatsoever be bottled up because it's so unhealthy. So what are some ways that you can find healthy outlets? Call or go see someone you trust and tell them what happened. Sometimes when you hear an opinion other than your own, it kind of opens up your mind and you become a little bit more aware, like, damn, okay. So this person's saying that, it could have been like this or it could be like this and it's not that bad, Sometimes hearing another perspective, you'd be surprised how much better that will make you feel about not losing your emotions and to be able to control them better and just not lose your shit over something so small. Or sometimes they're bigger scenarios than I'm initially playing out here. But again, these are just healthy outlets. I feel like another thing that's really helpful, it's kind of old school, but I mean, hey, it works. Keep a journal and just kind of transfer all of your emotions that you're feeling from your inner self onto the paper. You can either, it could be a private journal. You could maybe share it with someone and be like, hey, read this is what I wrote. But hey, it works. Sometimes some people find it helpful to kind of get involved with aggressive exercises like kickboxing or martial arts to kind of just let go of their feelings. And those are ways to kind of help you kind of just release it in a different way if you're not the type of person that's comfortable with maybe talking them out verbally to someone, like you still feel uncomfortable about that. Those are ways to kind of start building that comfortableness inside of you. Others, like myself, I like to meditate or kind of just do chants or kind of to get myself in a very tranquil sort of state of being, like just kind of like, all right, well, like one of the things that recently has become one of my all-time faves is definitely my guided meditation. Guided meditation, guys, seriously, look up meditation on the internet. Go to the library, your local library. I don't know if anybody goes to those anymore. God damn, I don't know why I said that right now. Oh God, I think I just put some pressure on everybody today. Anyways, so yeah, guys, guided meditation is the shit. Look, I know what you're thinking. You think meditation, you think of a bald monk wearing an orange long gown on top of a mountain. I'm telling you, it's nothing like that at all. Unless you want it to be, I don't mind it. That's on you. I'll still love you. But I'm saying, definitely meditation has been very helpful for me as far as like controlling my emotions, because I could be a very fucking angry person. I mean, but see, this is the thing though. This is the thing. Don't deny and say that you're not something. Because I will tell all my listeners right now, like, if someone were to cut me off in traffic, I'd be like, fuck you, man, or blah, blah, blah. But see, the difference between then and now is like when you start meditating, the way things bother you slowly but surely because of discipline and habits that you start forming emotionally and physically and mindfully is that every time the switch takes longer to turn on. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys. So the switch will take longer for it to turn on before you actually get upset. You get what I mean? So you will start to develop a larger amount of patience and a smaller amount of anger every time. So that's good. So it's not me saying like, oh yeah, if you start meditating, you will never be angry again. No, fuck that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm still me. But what I'm saying is that it really helps me get in control of my mind, get in control of locking down how I feel and just be one and all the things. You'd be surprised by just meditating. I started off with meditating like just 5 minutes a day. And it's so beautiful because a lot isn't expected of you, but it's such a beautiful way on controlling your emotions, because when you meditate, you really do have to be very mindful of yourself. Like, you'd be surprised when you close your eyes for 5 minutes in complete stillness, how all the things that pop up into your head. And the reason why meditation is so beautiful is because it helps you control just to kind of block out all those things, not in an unhealthy way, but in a, hey, you know what, this is my time and I'm just going to focus on my breathing and just all these things. I'm sorry, but we're going to turn you off. And you'd be surprised the mental power that you have to actually use to do that. But the more you do it, the more you become aware. And it's so beautiful because you start to realize all the things that don't matter. So you want to guess why that's beautiful when you're learning to control your emotions? Because when you're learning to control your emotions, you can take a step back and say, you know what? Does this really matter? No, man. Like, what the? Like, I could walk outside and get hit by a bus today. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so that's why it's helpful to basically like to think about that. So again, just the ultimate purpose is for you to just comprehend what is happening and to acknowledge it, set up and whatever activity you choose, all that matters is that at the end of the day, that they help you feel free from whatever has you pent, all these sentiments that you have inside pent up. So another thing that's super helpful when controlling your emotions, you got to see the bigger picture. Everything that's happening in our lives, whether good or bad, it always serves a higher purpose. Wisdom means like kind of being able to see past the moment and just kind of discern type of like almost like a greater meaning of any given situation. And sometimes we don't always understand it in the very beginning, but as time goes by, you'll start seeing the bigger picture falling into a perfect order. So definitely, even in the midst of an emotional, upsetting kind of moment, you have to trust that there exists, like there's an ultimate purpose for you to comprehend soon. You know what I mean? Like the reason why that's happening, it's for a very good reason. So another helpful thing is definitely kind of start to learn how to replace your thoughts. So whenever you start having a negative emotions, right? Because we're learning to control our emotions. And most of the time when we lose control of those emotions is due to negative emotions. So you have to kind of see those moments when they start happening, like, because negative emotions bind us to reoccurring negative thoughts. So when these kind of things start creating cycles of just negative patterns. So whenever you are confronted with an emotion and it's making you feel or think bad, just try to force it out of your mind. Be like, yo, get out of here. And try to replace it with a different thought. And just think of another ideal kind of solution or a way for the problem that's happening at the moment playing out. Instead think about someone who makes you happy or try to remember an event that makes you smile, like just instead of like losing control of your emotions or saying something to someone that you don't really mean, just really start to little by little. Because like I was telling you with meditation, the more you practice this, the better that you become at controlling those emotions. God damn, that was the money fucking sentence right there, y'all. There you go. Where's my paycheck? Just kidding. So always say this, man. I will leave it at this. I definitely want to come back to this topic again, and definitely because this is really fun. This was a really fun topic because I feel like a lot of us go through this. Always forgive your emotional triggers. And you always got to say like, well, if you're asking me like, what do you mean by that? Well, when you feel yourself losing control of your emotions, most of the time is because these emotions that we're losing control of may be triggered by a best friend or a family member or even yourself or all of the above. You know what I mean? And sometimes you may feel that tiny little bit of anger when your friend does that thing that she does, or that little stab of self-loathing when you remember that's something you could have done differently. But when you forgive, you detach yourself from that emotion. You get what I mean? You're just like, when you're like, you know what, man? All right, that's fine. Like, it's cool. Like, you start detaching yourself. So when you detach yourself from being that resentment, that anger, the jealousy, or that whatever it's pinned up inside you. So you start allowing people to be who they are without the need for those emotions of yours, like to just lose the escalating emotions, or you losing your shit. So as you forgive, you'll start to find yourself disassociating from the harsh feelings that are attached. So again, a constant reminder is that our emotions surge through us at every second of the day. Like everything causes like certain feelings inside of us. And we often take wrong actions when wrong feelings begin to filter through our mind without restraint. So to avoid the burn during an emotional upsurge, just take a few simple steps to calm your spirit and quiet your uneasy mind. And when that moment has passed, in hindsight, you'll be so grateful you were able to master your emotions. And yeah, so I don't know, guys. Okay, so I have a quick little segment here on that note. I have 5 questions that I'm going to answer that I was asked last week. And so some of my listeners, I said that I was going to answer these 5 questions. So the 5 questions are: can women have it all and fully balance work and family life without sacrificing either? That is a really good question. I really do believe that as humans, and especially women, that we could do any goddamn thing we want to do, especially when we put our mind to it. It's definitely would be hard depending on the woman's situation. If she was a single woman, I'd say it was hella hard, but a lot of women out there have proven that they can do that. But like with anything in life, work and family, I feel like everything always requires a healthy balance. So I think that as long as the woman finds a healthy balance between both of them without compromising too much of the one or the other, that she should be fine. And I think it's very obtainable. So the answer to that, I believe, is yes in my book. Second question. Someone asked me, what's your favorite 90s jam? And that, honestly, that was a tough one because, Jesus, there's so many good songs in the 90s, but, Jesus, I would have to say is Mo Money, Mo Problems by Notorious B.I.G. featuring Mace and Puff Daddy. Let's play a little quick clip of that real quick on this Wednesday morning. Ooh. That was definitely my 90s jam right there. It's like my anthem. Who's hot, who not? Tell me who rock, who sell out in the stores. You tell me who flop, who cop the blue drop, who jewels got pop, who mostly doji down. But yeah, that was definitely my 90s jam right there. Someone asked me, third question, how would you rate your memory? Oh my God, what the heck is that with these questions? Okay. My memory, that would depend. What is the rate? 1 through 10. Okay. They didn't really ask 1 through 10, 1 through 20, whatever. I don't even know. So I don't know. I would say I'm about a 7.5. 7.5. Making myself look good. I might say 7, but 7.5, definitely. Not too shabby. I remember things when I really want to remember things, basically. Number 4, what's your biggest pet peeve? Ugh, okay. My biggest pet peeve is when people ask me a question and they seem really enthusiastic about it, and then they say, never mind. And I'm like, no, why? But it's really not that big of a pet peeve. But I mean, like, I guess if I could think of anything at the top of my head, that would be one of them. Because it just kind of feels like they were ready for something and then they just like backed out. I'm like, oh God, really, man? Okay, so the last one, what is the first thing you notice about a person? Question number 5, a really good question. When I first meet someone, It's really crazy. It's probably the most important encounter because when I first meet someone, the first thing I look at is their eyes. I absolutely love making eye contact with people. If I immediately off the bat meet someone and I notice that they're not staring at me in the eyes, I almost, in a sense, feel like they have something to hide. Isn't that weird? But anyways, yeah, so that's the first thing I notice about a person. And then obviously once they start talking to me, their personality and all that kind of comes afterwards. But yeah, first thing I notice is the person's eyes. They're the window to the soul. Yeah, so that was my little segment of the questions Q&A section. Ooh, okay, and let's not forget the joke of the day. So today's joke of the day, it's a pretty dirty joke. So the question is, why was the guitar teacher arrested? And that is for fingering a minor. Wow. Dirty, 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 dirty. It's too much, you guys, too much. Okay, and I would definitely kind of like to end this whole segment here of learning with Webster's Word of the Day, because I always want us to leave with learning something we don't know. I personally have never heard this word. Maybe you guys have. But either way, this is for everyone to learn. So the word of the day, I believe, is called caustic. Let me see if that's right. Oh, nope, that's not it. I'm like, that's not it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so yeah, the word of the day is caustic. So the meaning of that is basically capable of destroying or eating away by chemical action, corrosive. Yeah. So an example that they give for this word is a caustic substance had eaten away at the metal of the plaque, and the inscription was now impossible to read. I don't know why I just read that like that, but anyways, so thank you guys so much for listening in to People Talk Now. If you have any requests or you'd like to be a co-host or you have any further questions, please feel free to go to peopletalknow.com. Go ahead and you can leave a submission on there, and you will just be able to listen to that will direct you to all of my social media accounts. So it will lead you to Instagram, People Talk Now. I have a Twitter, People Talk Now _, and there's even a Facebook, People Talk Now. Whew, wow, that was a whole lot. So yeah, if you guys definitely want to send a request of some topics that you guys would like me to discuss, feel free to email me at peopletalknow@hotmail.com. But you can also actually send all of these requests through anything. You can find anything that I'm working on peopletalknow.com. I just made it so much easier for you guys now. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. And until next time, guys, have a kick-ass Wednesday. Bye.